Hi friends, my name is Aaliyah and welcome to my channel Aaliyah Uncharted. Today I'm going to be going over my February TBR, which pretty much amounts to my Blackathon TBR. Blackathon is a month-long readathon that's hosted by Jesse over at Bowties and Books. I will link their channel down in the description. Please go check them out. They're one of my favorite booktubers and just always have really excellent content. But yeah, they host this every year. It is a readathon aimed to promote reading Black authors during the month of February for Black History Month in the US. And they've had several rounds of this now, like for several years. I've participated in several rounds, and it's just a really awesome readathon that I love to participate in. This year, they are splitting it up into 4 teams. So we have Team Science Fiction Fantasy, Team Mystery Thriller Horror, Team Romance, and Team Literature, Contemporary, Nonfiction, everything else. And I'm going to be Team Contemporary because so many of my TBR books just happen to be contemporary, so it worked out. But yeah, so I'm really excited to participate again. And yeah, I think that about covers it. So let's just get into what I'm hoping to read and all of the challenges for the Blackathon. Okay, so the first book I'm going to talk about is the only one that is not for the Blackathon, and that is We Write Upon Sticks by Quanberry. This I'm reading for the Buzzword Reading Challenge. I've mentioned this before, so I'm not going to get too into it. It's hosted by Kayla at Books and Lala. There is a buzzword assigned to every month. For February, it is pronouns and possessives. So me, mine, yours, ours, we, me, you, etc. So I am reading We Write Upon Sticks. This has been talked about a lot on Kayla's channel. She's talked about it a lot. It's one of her favorites. And it takes place in the 80s. We are in Danvers, Massachusetts, which is where the original Salem witch trials took place. And we're following a high school girls field hockey team as they are fighting to get to the championships and just win in their district or whatever. And I've been told it's kind of witchy, like they might be using some kind of magic of sorts to make that happen. Maybe? I don't know. It just sounds really intriguing. Again, Kayla has raved about it. I've seen it all over the place. And so I figured I would give it a go. It just sounds really interesting. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of 80s callbacks and stuff. And I really love 80s pop culture. So we're just going to give it a go. And I'm excited about it. Okay, so the first prompt for Team Contemporary is to read a book that explores the duality between blood and found family. And to be honest, I struggled with this. Not because there aren't books with found family, but that I was really struggling to find one that was contemporary. A lot of them are fantasy, and a lot of the contemporary ones I've already read. So I struggled with this, and this one kind of fudges it a little bit, but I'm gonna make it work. And that is Sky Falling by Mia Mackenzie. This is a novel following a woman named Sky. When she was in her 20s, she donated all of her eggs and then went on with her life, didn't think twice about it. Now she is in her late 30s and she has led a pretty successful solo life. She hasn't had any kind of serious relationship, romantic, platonic, or otherwise, and just really values her independence and her freedom. She is back home visiting for a brief stint when a 12-year-old girl shows up saying that she is her egg, and that kind of throws a lot of things on their head. So from then, she has to kind of grapple with maybe changing the way she lives and work on having some kind of meaningful human connection. And that means both in terms of this 12-year-old girl, but also in the family that she has been ignoring, like her brother who's been trying to reach out and her problematic mother. And then also wrapped up in all of this is the girl's aunt, who happens to be the woman that she failed to pick up at a bar the night before. So there's a lot of moving parts here. And while it doesn't deal with found family the way a lot of people like to think about it, I think it does touch on blood family and chosen family and how those can be the same people, but it just takes a different level of intention and how you fit them into your life. So that's going to be what I go with for this one. Either way, I am excited to read this, regardless if it fits the prompt, but I think it should be a good time. Prompt number 2 is to read a book that is not set in the US, UK, or Canada. And for this, I'm going to be reading The Sweetest Remedy by Jayne. This is actually the group book for Team Romance, but I'm going to read it anyway because it fits. So this is following a woman named Hannah, and she is half Nigerian, half American. But she's never known her Nigerian father. He was never in the picture, and so she just never knew that half of her heritage. All of a sudden, her father dies, and she finds herself going to Nigeria for the first time to attend his funeral. And so while she's there, she is meeting the family that she never knew, and they make it really clear that they don't think she belongs at all. They do not consider her to be one of them. And also while she's there, she meets a man who really steals her heart. So this is a book both about love, it's a romance, but it's also about Hannah learning about a culture and a part of her identity that she never thought she would be able to explore. So it sounds really, really good, which is why I nixed it from Team Romance anyway. And I'm really excited to read this. Also, the cover is stunning, so it's a whole package. Prompt number 3 is to read a book that has neon on the cover. And for this, I'm going to be reading The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. First of all, this is a book that was given to me by my beautiful friend Devin as part of my 12 Recs from 12 Friends challenge. You can hear more about that in my goals video. But so she recommended this to me. Thanks, Devin. And so I'm finally getting around to it. I don't think I really need to talk about this all that much because this book has been everywhere. Like, this has been lauded by everybody. And I am, as always, super behind the trend at this point. But to give a brief synopsis, The Vanishing Half is following twin sisters, and they come from a line of fairly light-skinned Black folks. And then their lives go in totally opposite directions. One sister stays in their hometown, marries a beautiful Black man, has a family, and just stays within their community. The other sister leaves town, passes as white, and then marries a white man who doesn't know anything about her heritage. And so they just live very different lives. So it's following these two sisters as well as their daughters whose own stories end up intersecting. That's about all I know about it. I know it's a commentary on race and colorism. It's about time I finally get to it, honestly. It's been everywhere. I may as well give it a go. So we're finally going to be doing this. Does this technically have neon pink on the cover? I'm calling it neon pink, so it's gonna be my book. Last but not least, we have prompt number 4, which is to read the group book. And the group book for Team Contemporary is Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jayne Allen. This is a book about a woman named Tabitha. She is in her early 30s and she has it all. She's got her education, she's got a good job, she's got a down payment on a house, paper perfect boyfriend. Things are looking slick. But all of that kind of gets thrown out the window when she gets a diagnosis that jeopardizes the next step in her perfect plan, which was to have a child. So now she's having to kind of reconfigure and figure out what the future of her dreams is going to look like. So this is a lot about friendship. I know a lot of this book is founded in her relying on her best friends as she tries to navigate this new diagnosis and what it means for the future and what she wants to do with her life. And that's about all I know about it, to be perfectly honest. But I mean, it sounds very relatable, very relevant, and I'm interested to see what it has going on. I also know this is actually the first in a trilogy. It's been a while since I've read a contemporary trilogy, so I think overall it should just be a really interesting read. All right, so that is it. That is everything I'm planning on reading in February and for the Blackathon. And honestly, I'm just really excited because January's been a little slumpy for me, as it always tends to be. And so I'm looking forward to reading some good books and just having a good time. Let me know if you're going to be participating in the Blackathon. So hop down into the comments and let me know what team you're on, what books you're going to read for what prompts, all that fun stuff. Or if you're not, what are you excited to read in February? I would love to know. Also, just a reminder, I will be putting all the links to everything I mentioned down in the description, so go ahead and check that out. While you're there, you can hit that like button if you like this video and hit that subscribe if you want to see more from me. But yeah, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
into the place, dispatch you from a ways. My heart, it started racing.